There are two free and open source AI tools that came out recently that allow you to manipulate any photo of a face. You can move their head around, you can close or open their eyes, edit their lips, and do other crazy stuff. So that's exactly what we're going to go over in today's video. I'm going to show you how to use it and how to install it locally on your computer. So the first tool is called FacePoke, and first of all, there's a free Hugging Face space for you to use this online. I'll link to this in the description below. By the way, FacePoke is based on a tool called Live Portrait. This is a super powerful tool that's actually made by the company behind Kling, and it allows you to control anyone's expression with another reference video. Now, I already did a full tutorial on Live Portrait, so check out this video if you haven't already. But anyways, back to FacePoke, it's pretty straightforward to use. You just need to upload a photo. Now, it says here that JPEG, PNG, and WebP work. However, I find that PNG files do not work well. So try to upload JPEG or WebP if you can. So let's start with a simple photo of Elon Musk, and there's this toggle here to show face landmarks on hover, and what that does is when you hover over a certain feature of his face, like his eyebrows, then his eyebrow would be highlighted. If you hover over his eye, then his eye would be highlighted, same with his mouth, same with his face, etc. So it's quite straightforward to use. If you just move your mouse around and drag your mouse around, you can see that it moves his head according to where your mouse is. So that's one thing you can do, is just click somewhere on the photo and then drag your mouse around, and that would move his head. So let me set this to center now. He looks like he's stoned or something. Anyways, you can also hover over a certain feature like his eye, and then if you drag this up or down, it would close his eye. So right now you can see his eye is closed. If I drag this back up, and it would open his eyes very wide. And then same with his eyebrows, you can drag this up or down to raise his eyebrows, or alternatively lower his eyebrows. So a lot of things you can do. And then same with his mouth. When you hover over his mouth, you can drag this left, right, up, down. For example, right now we're getting him to do this expression, or if you drag this to the left, you get this expression. And then finally, if you hover over his face and you see this whole circle around his face, that's where you can rotate his face. So let me hold and drag the mouse now, and see right now I'm rotating him clockwise, and then if I drag it the other way, his head will rotate counterclockwise. So note that if you don't hover over anything and you click anywhere on the page, this will just move his entire head based on your mouse position, right? But if you hover over his face and you see this whole circle around his face, that's where you can kind of adjust the tilt of his head, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much it. Let's try with another example. So again, if I'm not highlighting anything and I just click and drag, her head would look and face where my mouse is. And then if I hover over the eyebrows, I can up or down. Here is up. Here is down. And then her eyes, you can either close the eyes or open the eyes, but you can't change the gaze of the eyes. So you can't make her cross-eyed, you can't make her tongue stick out. You can't do any of those things. There's no tongue involved here. You can only make her smile like this. This looks kind of creepy. This is very uncanny. So this is a very forced smile of this AI girl. Or you can hover over the mouth and drag it down and make her mouth like this. And then again, if you hover over her face where you see a circle around her entire face, this is where you can drag it in order to tilt her face either clockwise, oh my gosh, or counterclockwise. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then to download this, you simply click download here. Now, this is on Hugging Face. This is an online platform. You can use it for free, but what if you want to install this locally on your computer? Well, it's pretty easy to do. I'll link to their GitHub page in the description below, but if you scroll down to the middle, there will be installation instructions. So let's go over this right now. So first of all, let's go to any folder on our computer. It doesn't matter. This is wherever you want to install this FacePoke tool. So I'm just going to install it on my desktop, and then on this bar up here, simply click on it and then type in CMD, press enter, and this will open up command prompt in whatever folder you started with. In our case, it's going to be on desktop. Now, the next step does require that you have Anaconda installed. Now, I try to make my videos as beginner friendly as possible. I understand some of you might not even have the most basic packages such as Python or Anaconda installed. So here I'm going to show you how to install Anaconda. If you have it already, feel free to skip to the next section. Now, I'm just on anaconda.com, and actually what I'm going to do is install Miniconda. This is a minimalist version of Anaconda. If you install the full Anaconda, it installs a lot of packages and dependencies that you might not need. This just takes up more room on your computer, and of course the installation time is a bit longer. But with Miniconda, it's just a bare bones package, and you can always install additional packages and dependencies afterwards. So I'm going to click on latest Miniconda installer links by Python version, and I'm using Windows, so I'm going to install one of these. Now, for free and open source AI tools, usually they do not support Python 3.12, so it's better to install the Python 3.11 version. So I'm going to click on this, which should download an exe file to your computer. Once it's finished downloading, simply double click on this and then follow the steps to complete the installation. So I'm going to click next and then agree, and then let's set this to all users. I'm going to go with the default destination folder, and then I'm going to check this as well, clear the package cache upon completion. This just gives you back some more disk space without affecting functionality. Alright, once that's completed, let's click next, and then we are finished. Now, we aren't done yet, so if you open up the command prompt and you type in conda -- version, you're still going to see that Conda is not recognized. This is because we haven't added Anaconda to our path yet. So let's exit out of this, and then to add it to our path, we simply search for this function, edit the system environment variables. We're going to click on this, and then click on environment variables, and then click on the one that says path, and then click edit. And here's where you add in the path of Anaconda. So it depends where you installed Anaconda. For me, I installed it in program data, so it's going to be in program data / Miniconda. And then if I double click on scripts, you can see that Conda is here. So this is the folder we want to paste in. So I'm going to right click on this and then copy as path, and then back in the environment variables window, I'm going to click new and then paste in the path here, and then click OK, and then OK, and then OK again. Now, if you open up command prompt again and type in conda -- version, you should see that we are running 24.5.0. So this shows that we have successfully installed Anaconda. Anyways, after you installed Anaconda, type in conda create -n FacePoke and then Python equals 3.10. That's because this has only been tested to work with Python 3.10. Anyways, let's press enter and see what that gives us. Alright, so let's press Y to proceed. What this is doing is it's basically creating a virtual environment that is based on Python 3.10, and we are calling this virtual environment FacePoke. Alright, so now that it has finished creating the environment, the next step is to activate the environment first. So we need to type in conda activate FacePoke and then press enter, and you can see that our environment has been activated because we see FacePoke in parentheses before every line. Alright, next step is you need to git clone this repo. If you don't have git installed, here's how you install it. If you do have git installed, feel free to skip to the next section. So all we got to do is download the latest release for whatever operating system you're using. So I'm using Windows, so I'm just going to click on download for Windows. I'm running 64-bit, so I'm going to click on this to download, and it's now downloading this exe file. So once that's completed, all we got to do is open that exe file and then follow the steps. So I'm going to click on next. I'm just going to go with the default install location, which is program files / git. So I'll click next for that, and then I'm just going to leave this at the default. And then I'm going to click next again and click next here. We're just going to use the default settings for all of these. There's a lot of settings that you need to go through, so I'm just going to click next for all of these. Alright, and then it should go ahead and install all the files, so this might take a few minutes. Perfect, so now we have Git installed. Alright, next step is we need to clone the repository. So we got to type in git clone and then just copy this URL over here. So let me press enter. And what this is doing is it's basically copying all the files and folders that we see in this repository into our virtual environment called FacePoke. So after that is done, first of all, if you open up our desktop, you can see that we have a new FacePoke folder. And if you open this, these are the folders and files that are identical to what we see in this GitHub repository. All right, so next step is we need to go one folder in and go into this FacePoke folder, because right now we are still on desktop. So to go into that repository, we can press CD and then type in FacePoke. Notice the capital letters, because that is what this repo is named. So capital F, capital P. So let's press enter. So you can see right now we are in this FacePoke folder. All right, next step is to pip install all the requirements. So we need to type in pip install -- upgrade, because it is telling us to upgrade first. So just to be safe, let's also type this in. So pip install -- upgrade -r requirements.txt. And for those of you who are not tech savvy, yes, this is a pain in the ass. I wish they could just have a one-click installer, but it is what it is. So what this is doing is it's going to install all the packages and dependencies that are specified in this requirements.txt file. So actually, if we scroll back to the repo and we click on this requirements.txt, you can see it lists out all these dependencies and packages that it needs to install for this to work. So that's exactly what it's doing now. Installing PyTorch, which is like 2.5 gigabytes. It's installing all these other dependencies. So depending on the speed of your internet connection, this is going to take a while. So I'm going to pause the video and wait for this to complete. Let me tell you about this awesome tool called ChatLLM by our sponsor, Abacus AI. This allows you to use the best AI models out there all in one integrated platform. This includes the latest O1 Preview, O1 Mini, as well as other state-of-the-art models like GPT-4o and Claude Sonnet 3.5. Plus, they have a new Route LLM feature, which automatically picks the best LLM to use based on your prompt. They also have a Search LLM feature, which searches the web to find the latest and most accurate information for you. You can also generate images right from the chatbot, and they're using the best generator out there, Flux Pro. Plus, you can even generate videos with a single prompt. How cool is that? Plus, it has a really cool artifacts feature, so if you're coding or building something with it, it allows you to view and interact with the app side by side. You can also drag and drop PDFs and documents into here for it to analyze. This is great for generating reports and analyzing data easily. They also have a new feature called AI Engineer, which allows you to create your own custom chatbot fine-tuned on your own custom data or instructions. You can seamlessly integrate this into Slack and other enterprise platforms, so it's great for team collaboration. Plus, you can also create custom agents to automate specific tasks. This is just a really powerful and versatile way for you to use the best AI models out there all in one platform. Try it out via the link in the description below. Alright, so right now it's downloading all the other packages that are listed in the requirements.txt file. So you can see there are a few dozen of these. It's going to take a while for it to download everything. All right, so after installing this super long list of dependencies, if you see this with no errors, then that means it has finally finished installing everything. All right, so the next step is we need to install front-end dependencies. Yes, we are not done yet. This is such a painful installation, but we just have a few more steps remaining. So let's press CD client, and this is going to basically change the directory to this client folder. All right, now next step, we need to have bun installed first. Yes, this is another bloody package we need to install. So this is on bun.sh, and I'm using Windows, but it also works on Mac OS and Linux. So I'm just going to copy this line, and then I'm going to open up a new CMD window and then just paste in that line here. So if all goes well, it should start installing bun. All right, so let me get rid of this and start a new CMD window. And if I type in bun, if you see all this stuff, then that signifies that bun has been successfully installed. All right, so we need to reopen this FacePoke client folder in our CMD. So I'm going to open this client folder, and then at the top bar here, let's type in CMD to open up command prompt, but in our client folder. And then remember, we need to activate the virtual environment first. So to do that, you type in Conda, activate, and then FacePoke. And then let's press enter, and you should see that we now have this FacePoke virtual environment activated. So the next step is to type in bun install. So let me do that. All right, after that is finished, we just need to build the front end, and this is the second last step, so bear with me. So let me just paste this line in here, and then press enter. All right, so it looks like it has been built. And then finally, the last step is to use Python to run this app.py file. However, bloody hell, they should make these instructions clearer because this app.py is actually not in this client folder. It's in the previous folder, FacePoke, right? So app.py is here. So what you actually need to do is change the directory back to FacePoke. So to do that, you type in cd for change directory, and then 2 dots, which would go back to the parent folder. And then after we are in this FacePoke folder, then we type in python app.py, and fingers crossed, it should start running. And then if it's your first time running this app.py file, it's going to install some additional dependencies, some of which are like hundreds of megabytes in size. So again, this is going to take a while. All right, now if all goes well, you should see this message running on HTTP and this URL. So the final step is to just open this in your browser. So it's going to be localhost 8080, and voila, we have the interface up and running. So we can now upload a photo. Let's do Elon Musk, and let's just make sure this all works. So if I hover over his face, yes, the features are highlighted. If I click and drag anywhere, you can see that it moves his head. All right, so that's how you install FacePoke locally on your computer if you really want to do that. But note that there are a lot of steps involved, so keep that in mind. All right, there's another very similar tool called Expression Editor, and this is also based on Live Portrait. It's actually very similar to FacePoke, but instead of, hovering over the face and dragging your mouse to adjust the expression, here we're using these sliders. So again, there's a free Hugging Face space. I'll link to this in the description below. Let's drag and drop an image. So I'm going to drop in an image of Elon Musk, and then let's just play around with all of these settings. So let's try to rotate his head up and down. All right, so that rotates it up, and then let's see what down looks like. So down looks like this. All right, so let's have this like right here. And then let's try to rotate it left all the way. Okay, and then right all the way. So that's what it looks like. And then let's try to tilt his head to the left all the way. And then right all the way. Okay, so that's what these settings do. Again, it's very similar to FacePoke, but instead of dragging your mouse around, you're using these sliders. And I actually prefer this method better because it gives you more precise control. Anyways, let's try the eyes. Let's adjust this eyebrow slider all the way to the left and see what that looks like. All right, so it looks like this. And then if you adjust it all the way to the right, it looks like that. And then let's adjust this blink slider to the left. So that just closes his eyes. And then if you adjust it all the way to the right, it opens his eyes wider. And then for wink, let's see what happens if we adjust this all the way to the right. All right, so it makes him wink. What about if it's in the middle? All right, so it's like a half wink. Let's set this back to 0. And then pupil X, if we drag this to the left, what does that do? Ah, so it makes him look to the left. And then if we drag this to the right, it makes him look to the right. And then pupil Y, if we drag this to the left, what happens? It makes him look down. And then if we drag this to the right, it makes him look up. Very nice, very nice. Let me drag this back to the left. Yeah, I like this expression a bit better. And then for the mouth, let's drag this ah slider all the way to the right. Okay, and then if we drag this all the way to the left, very impressive. And then what about E? Let's drag this all the way to the left first. Whoa. All right, I think we need to reset this off first before we do anything. Okay, and then if we drag this all the way to the right, we do get like this E expression. All right, let's reset this to 0, and then let's play with the woo slider. So if I drag this all the way to the left, this is what happens. It's not really a big change. If we drag this to the right, we do get this kind of like a woo-shaped mouth. So let me reset this to 0, and then for smile, let's drag this to the left. So you can see it's kind of making him frown a bit more. If we drag this all the way to the right, you get him to smile. Very nice, very nice. And then there are more settings here that you can play around with, but that's basically how you can use Expression Editor. And then really quickly, let me also try with the image of this woman. So let me reset everything. And then let me change the eyes like this. Very nice. Eyebrow. Let's do this. And then blink. Let's adjust it to the right. Again, you can't make her cross-eyed. You can't make her stick her tongue out. There's no settings for that, unfortunately. And then for the mouth, let's set this all the way to the right and see what happens. Okay, what if we do this? All right, and then E, let's set this all the way to the right. Woo, let's set this all the way to the right. Okay, so, I mean, there are a lot of settings you can play with. So, yeah, you can see that this is just another tool very similar to FacePoke, but you can adjust the expression using sliders. So, that sums up this tutorial. Let me know in the comments if you run into any issues, and I'll try to help troubleshoot as much as possible. Also note that both these tools are based on Live Portrait, which is a super powerful tool that can control anyone's expression with a reference video. So if you're going to play around with this, it's actually better just to install Live Portrait because it has a lot more capabilities. So see this video for a full tutorial on how to install it. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.